Okay guys, how's it going? Alright, this commentary, I'm letting you know right now, is going to be a little different. I have nothing deep to say or anything interesting about life to talk about, but as I'm recording this, I don't even know if I'm going to even be using COD gameplay. I'm not sure yet. Listen, I don't get good COD matches like that willy-nilly, alright? I gotta try sometimes, so I gotta use these footage sparingly, but if I see something, I'll add some COD gameplay, okay? This video might be short, it might be long, consider it a filler video, if you will, okay? I'm gonna title it how I want to, you know, if the algorithm picks it up, fine. If 5 of you watch this, it just makes this video all the more personal. It's like I'm talking to my friends here, alright? Except I'm just in my room talking alone, and I won't hear or see your response if you don't comment. Videos have been hard to make lately because this semester is ending and I need to lock in and make a generational clutch for my grades, but this recent gaming news got me a little angry, okay? I know I'm a couple days late talking about this, but I, alongside many others, have had the misfortune of hearing the news about the new Nintendo Switch 2. Before I talk about it real fast, you know, I would like to edit in some footage of the Nintendo Direct showing the Switch 2 and some of the game reveals, but I'm still new to this and I don't exactly know how strict Nintendo is with showing footage from their Directs. And I don't have connections to ask people like that, you know, so the video won't be edited heavily with footage, it'll just be my gameplay, so feel free to just have the video in the background while you do whatever. But this past Nintendo Direct was crazy, alright? Like, I was at work at the time and I had Twitter up on my second monitor, so I was just refreshing the homepage, getting updates in real time, right? And dude, in the first half, I really liked what I was seeing, okay? The Switch 2 specs were really looking promising. The bigger screen, the resolution, the FPS capabilities were all looking really solid. You know, leading up to this Nintendo Direct, I was debating on getting a Steam Deck or waiting for a Switch 2. Literally, the only thing that kind of nudges me to get a Switch are like the 2 Nintendo exclusives that I actually care about. You know, Mario Kart is one of my favorite, you know, lines of games ever. You know, I've spent hundreds of hours on each one and I haven't played a 3D platformer as polished as Mario. And the Pokemon games too, but even lately those have also been kind of falling off in terms of quality. So mainly just for Mario and Pokemon, and that's about it, you know, and I never really cared about Zelda personally or any of the other Nintendo exclusives, but that's just me. However, you know, even only wanting 2 games realistically for the Switch, this Nintendo Direct was making it more and more difficult for me to just ignore it. You know, Hollow Knight announced Silksong is coming to the Switch. Now I'm very new to Hollow Knight. I just started playing it for the first time about a month ago and I've been on and off. So the Silksong reveal wasn't a huge, crazy, you know, bounce around my room moment for me, but I've been in tune with the gaming community for long enough to know how big of a deal that Silksong is actually going to come out. The part that got me going crazy actually was the reveal of the Dusk Bloods. I just got into FromSoft games and Souls-likes 2 years ago after playing Elden Ring for the first time. And with Shadow of the Erdtree and now Night Rain coming out next month, I'm just eager to play anything that studio comes out with. And seeing the trailer, I was going bananas with the thought that this game looks this good on the Switch. And then I fell into existential dread that this game as of right now looks like it'll be a Nintendo Switch exclusive. I love Mario Kart, and to have an open world game where you drive to the next track yourself after a race and a free roam mode, it looked really cool. But that's all the stuff that I cared about and felt like mentioning. But all that sounded good. I've only been saying good things, so why was I so angry about the Nintendo Direct? That's because after the Direct, I read about the prices. Now, I think if I remember right, the Switch 2 was going to start at, I think, close to $450. Now, that wasn't my issue, honestly. I got my first Nintendo Switch for, I think, like $300 a few years ago. With the upgrades that the Switch was getting with the size, the performance, and what kind of games can actually, you know, run on it, I kind of saw this price hike coming. Like, come on, they said that Cyberpunk 2077 was gonna run on the Nintendo Switch 2 at launch. It's cheaper than a PS5, and from what it looks like, it'll run close to a PS4 Pro, so $450 is not the craziest thing to me. What is the craziest thing to me, though, what my problem is, stems for the prices of their games going forward. Buying games nowadays for the past few years has already been ridiculous. You know, $70 has been the industry standard for a minute now. But Nintendo over here, Nintendo wanted to openly commit the sin of greed and raise their standard pricing to $80 if you want a digital copy of a game. And God forbid you want it to be physical, because it will be $90. $80 to $90 for a game used to be what we paid for a deluxe version of a game or a season pass version of a game. But this is the new standard now, so who knows what the special editions of these games will cost now. And I don't even know who would happily and openly buy this. Mario Kart Worlds is costing $80 from the jump for a digital copy, and that's just mind-boggling. I don't know who in their right mind is willing to justify this, and Nintendo games barely ever go on sale either, and if they do, it's by like $10, so maybe it'll go on sale, but it'll still be too much. $80 digital and $90 physical, and even then, the physical games are pointless too. I don't know if it was for all games or for some, but some of the cartridges for the Switch 2 aren't even going to have any data on them. Before, you used to just pop in a disc or a cartridge and just install the game and be done, but now, for the Switch 2, you need to have internet access to download your game. Like, what is the point of getting physical then? Like, what if you're on a road trip, with your Switch 2 and you go to a mall, on a pit stop and you pass a GameStop and there's a game you want to get and the pre-owned price is looking, affordable. And you buy the game, from GameStop, and too bad you can't play it out of the box because you need internet. You're better off saving $10 to just have it digitally since the disc is pretty much useless. You all know what Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons look like, right? And for Souls-likes, those Souls-like games, those Joy-Cons must be uncomfortable to play with, so might as well buy a Pro controller to have a traditional handheld controller experience. That would just be another $80. At least that's what the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons were for the first gen. I don't know if they're gonna make more fancier ones that are $90 or $100, but let's just say $80. So to buy the Switch, you're gonna drop $450. Unless you're only going to buy one game and be happy with one game only for the time being, you're probably gonna buy 2 or 3 games, to have some variety for a little bit. So $450, add in another $160 to $240, and then throw in a Pro controller on there for $80 just to top it off. Like, honestly, the more I learn about the Switch 2, the angrier I get. It's so crazy that Nintendo Direct was going so well. The public reception to it was so good. Nintendo could not have been more back, dude, but they just got so greedy so fast. I don't know if it's because the first Switch was such a smash hit that they feel that they earned the right to raise prices like crazy, or because truthfully, and I think everyone thought this, but if anybody was going to try and shake up the industry standard of game prices, I think everyone thought it would be Rockstar with GTA 6. I feel like we're all expecting that game to be between $80 to $100 at the most at launch for like the standard edition. And if Rockstar did that, it's obvious that other publishers would do it too, but that's what I mean. I feel we were all mentally preparing this like price hike like craziness to come from Rockstar, but we all got whiplash when we saw that Nintendo was the one changing the status quo themselves. Gaming is just getting so expensive these days and honestly really inconvenient. Games are being charged these outrageous prices, and 60% of the time it feels like the games don't even come out well optimized. We're paying for beta versions of these games, and then after 2 or 3 patches in like the span of a couple months, then the game becomes playable if you're lucky. If the devs don't give up on it. Especially for PC gaming, people are dropping thousands of dollars on powerful builds with 5090s and Ryzen 9s, whatever, and games are barely cracking 50 FPS without any upscaling or frame generation. Like me on my PC, I have a 4080, and even still, new games, I need to turn up the upscaling or it just won't run well, and I dropped so much money on it, it's genuinely frustrating. In regards to the Switch 2, I think I'm just going to keep saving up for a Steam Deck. Like, I have access to basically every single game in my Steam library, OLED screen, battery life looks like it's way better than the Switch, and Steam actually has sales that are worth spending my money on. The only thing that I kind of feel bad about, with missing out on the Switch is Mario Kart Worlds and the new FromSoft game. Other than that, I just can't bring myself to care about it. And I think with that, the thought just comes to mind that gaming just isn't what it used to be. Companies have become lazy, they've become greedy, and there's no sign of it getting any better. I truly think our only saving grace are just indie games, quick 6 to 8 hour experiences that you can beat in one evening. Because even those short bite-sized games have been leaving more of an impact lately in comparison to some of the last AAA games in the past several years. Not that there aren't any good AAA developers out there or AAA games, but these games are costing $70 and their development practices are toxic, and it's just hard to be optimistic. Alright, so that was my rant. I know it was a different commentary today, but for those who stuck around, thank you. I appreciate you, and yeah. I'm still working on that special video, I made a post about a few weeks ago. It's just with studying for finals and deaths in the family, it's just been hard to find time to sit down and really edit, because that's all it is, It's just editing now. My commentary is all spliced, it's ready, it's just getting footage for it, but yeah. Hopefully I get that out soon, but until then, I hope you take care and be well.